So what do? One guy comes out of the car with a gun and he points it at me. He's like, yo, get in the car and show me where the car is. You ever wonder where life could be, or where you could be in life if things happen differently for you? Have you ever had a moment in your life where like one thing could have just changed the trajectory of your whole life, like just changed everything? Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was something that you did when you were younger and you're like, oh my God, I was so close to not making it. Or something happened that you could have got really badly injured, or you could have went a bad direction in life when you were hanging out with the wrong people. Well, I think we all have that moment in life, or most of us do, where you remember that one moment in life where you can almost pinpoint that one moment where you could have just went off to the wrong direction, but luckily you stayed in the right direction. Or something could have happened that could have changed your life, but luckily, with God's help, it didn't. But it happened to me when I was younger. I remember when I was younger, there's probably a lot of instances. I grew up in Woodhaven in Queens, New York, right? And I grew up most of my life there from I was like 6 or 7 years old to I was like 19. And when I was 19, I moved over to Richmond Hill, which is like, the next town over. As Woodhaven is one town, and you got next town is Richmond Hill. So in Woodhaven, I knew all the kids growing up there. I knew a lot of the kids there, right? We grew up together. I knew them. If I didn't know them personally, I've interacted with them, and I've known them each other. Like we just speak to each other, we play sports together, whatever. So we knew each other. But there was a lot of gangs too. There was a lot of kids that were dealing drugs and stealing cars. They were into bad stuff, right? But I knew them, right? So then I moved to Richmond Hill. And when you got into that area, now I started getting to know the other people on the other town, right? The other side of town. So I started getting to know them. And I lived next door to, pretty much the person that ran that whole area. Like he was in charge. It was 102nd Street in Richmond Hill. And he was connected to everybody there. So everybody knew him. So that's how I kind of got to know everybody over there. And it was just one guy, man. This guy was bad. Like if you just met him, you could just see his aura was just bad. Like anytime you interacted with him, he was just a bad person. Like you didn't want to even be around him. When he came, you were just like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm out. Like I don't wanna deal with this guy. Like he was just bad like that. You just felt he was always bad, right? Like if you were walking in the street, you're hanging out, walking in the street, he came out with his car, he would literally like drive his car flying up to you and then break it and scream, even though we're all cool, he would just do that. That's just his mentality all the time. Well, he ended up going to jail for like 20 years in prison. I don't even know how he got out, but I don't even want to get into that story because that's just another situation, but he did some crazy stuff, right? So anyway, when I was on that side with those people, I got along with them too. But I still got along with the Woodhaven people, right? And they, for some reason, I didn't know this, growing up, I didn't even really understand all that stuff. But eventually they didn't like each other. Woodhaven people didn't like Richmond Hill, and I guess they just had clashes. Well, the people I would hang out with and knew, this is when I was like probably 20, 21 or whatever, around there. One of them had stolen the car of the person in Woodhaven, and I knew this guy in the Woodhaven, this kid, because we grew up together. I knew his father. He had a video store. I would always go there. He was working there. I would rent videos back then. That's when we had videos. You remember video cassettes? Well, I would go rent videos. So I knew him. I knew his father. I knew the store. But so they stole his car, the people in Richmond Hill that I knew. And I didn't know. So I was hanging out one day, and then I seen them come by, and they were like cursing at each other, yelling at each other. And I was like, what's going on? So, so they told me, they were like, oh yeah, so this so-and-so stole his car and now he's looking for it. They told me where it was. I was like, oh man, that's not good, right? Like, why are you guys doing that, right? Especially to the next town over and they know it's you. Why would you do that? But anyway, so things happen, whatever. So then later that night, it was probably, 1 in the morning. We're still hanging out there. So they come by again. They see us all on the stoop. We're all hanging out, talking. and they come by again. But this time they come by with like 2 or 3 cars of people. They came in, pulled up, came out, and they started yelling at each other, right? Yelling at each other. I'm like, oh man. So then they were going at it, yelling at each other, and people were getting out of the cars. So then me being the idiot that I am, being the idiot that I am. But I always like to be the peacemaker. I always thought I was like, you know what, I'm cool with everybody. Like when I was in school, I hung out with the bad kids in school and I hung out with the nerdy kids in school. And when I was with the bad kids and they were trying to pick up the nerdy kids, I would always say, nah, don't leave him alone. He's a good kid. He's cool. Let him leave him alone. I know him. So that, I would kind of like break the thing in there. The bad kids wanted to do stuff and I felt bad for the kids that I knew, the nerdy kids. So I would always like try to be the the thing between them, right? I don't know. That's something I've always done. I've always been a part of me. So what do I do in this situation? The idiot that I am, because I know both sides. I'm like, all right, let me mediate this. So I get out. I'm like, yo, chill, chill, chill. Let's not get into that. Let's not fight about this. I know where the car is. Let's just get your car back. There's no problems. You guys don't do that no more. And you guys, you'll get your car back. Everything is good, right? They weren't having it. The people in Woodhaven, even though they knew me, they were pissed. They weren't having it. So what they do, the one guy comes out of the car with a gun, literally a gun, and he points it at me. He's like, yo, get in the car and show me where the car is. Get me in the car and show me where the car is. And now this guy has a gun. So now I'm like, yo, look, if I was going to take you, I was going to show you, I would have showed you. But you coming out with a gun, I'm not doing that, right? So then the other guys came out. They came and grabbed me, pulled me back towards them. And now this guy with the gun, obviously he wasn't going to do anything. But you never know. Like in that situation, what if that guy was just pissed off enough where he just decided, you know what, I'm gonna just do something right here and just end it. I didn't know for sure. Thank God the guys next to me didn't weren't scared enough where they were like, they could all just been bursting out running somewhere else. Instead, they actually grabbed me, pulled me back, and pulled me back with them. Like that was cool. I really respected that because you never know, man. When somebody pulls a gun out, you don't just go like towards the guy with the gun and grab the guy that he's pointing the gun at and try to pull him back, right? But that's what he did. And that's what they did. And I really respect that. But I remember that. But I think I don't even know what happened after that because after that, I was like, oh man, these guys is just too much. I didn't want a part of that. So I kind of like lay low with them. I didn't really hang out as much after that. And I really never knew what happened. I don't even remember asking what happened to their car. Did they get their car back? I just knew after that, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't want to hang out with these guys too much because, if they're going to keep getting into that kind of trouble, I don't want to be in that kind of trouble, right? And you don't want to be hanging out with people that are getting in that kind of trouble. So I think God definitely spared me that day. Thank God that person who pulled the gun out didn't pull the trigger, didn't do something stupid, because it could have changed my life, his life, and who knows what could have happened after that, right? Because obviously you do something like that, somebody else is going to do something stupid, and it's just a bad thing. But yeah, so you never know, like something like that could change the trajectory of somebody's life or your life or anybody's life. And it's just crazy when you think back. When you look back at situations like that, you're like, wow. And it's almost like you can't believe that happened. Like you never think that you're gonna get a gun pointed at you, right? With some guy pointing a gun. I didn't know that guy at all. That guy who pointed the gun at me, I didn't know him at all. I was in Woodhaven. I grew up in Woodhaven. He might have been a new person or something, but I never even knew that guy. Never seen that guy before. So I don't know where he came from. But man, if I would have knew the person, I probably would have felt a little more comfortable. Like, okay, I don't think he would do this. But seeing somebody, a stranger you never saw before, and pulling out a gun on you and pointing it at you and like, yo, get in the car. Like he literally wanted me to get in the car. Like I'm not getting in no car, man. That's one thing I was like, nah, I'm definitely not getting in your car. But yeah, I'm sure that's happened. Not that kind of similar story, but I'm sure everybody has a story in their life where they could have went one way or the other way with their life. Like they could have went to the bad ways, or they could have done something that could have just changed where you were going in life, right? Some people, they got into bad things and somehow they got out of it. But I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people. And I'm just saying, like, you know what? thank God that God was with you, and he pulled you out for a reason. And whatever reason you are here, you are right now watching this video or doing whatever you're doing, there was a purpose for that. There's a purpose for me. There's a purpose for you. There's a purpose for a lot of people that had that happen to. And you got to understand that and make the best of it, because you're here for a reason. You're not gone. You're not out. You're here. And you're still here for a reason, for a purpose. And now you got to make the best of it. And I hope this helps somebody out there. If you went through a similar situation and you found your way out of it, well, you have a purpose right now. Maybe it's to make videos. Maybe it's to help somebody else. Maybe it's to go and do something online, especially YouTube, because, in your area, in your little tight area, you can only help maybe family and a couple of friends, right? But with YouTube, you could help thousands and thousands of people by just sharing whatever you know, whatever's in your heart, whatever you're feeling. You could help so many more people by using this thing, using the platform, using the video, using your personality. Just use it. God's with you. God's going to be right with you, right wherever you're going, whatever you're doing. He's going to be with you along the way. And he'll inspire you. When you feel down and you feel out, you feel like, I don't know what I'm going to do, he'll be right there with you. He'll push you. He'll figure out something. And all of a sudden, that thing in your head, that voice in your head, whatever's telling you to do something, that's him pushing you. Listen to that. Don't sway away from it. Don't move away from it. Go for it. Go right at it. Whatever you hear is telling you right now, do this. Like this video. I never plan these videos. I literally just come on and say, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I'm going to talk about this. You know who that's from? That's from God. God needed me to tell this story. I'm going to tell this story. Maybe it helps one person out there. If it helps one person, thank God that one person got helped. If you're in your little immediate family and friends, what's the chance of you helping out one person? Very slim. Maybe you will. But when you have the reach of thousands and maybe millions of people, chances of you helping more than one person are really high. So keep going, keep doing this, and keep spreading positive and great messages out there. And I know God is with you. Go make a video. Please talk. Say anything that's on your mind, because whatever you have to say, somebody out there needs to hear it. And they can only hear it if you do it. I love y'all. Peace.